Guys, are you okay? Are you alright?
Yeah, we're fine. How about you? Wait, hold on. Let me get over to you. I'll help. Get him up. I need to talk to him. Take this and breathe.
Sir, we don't know how much they know about the secrets of infinite warfare.
Now tell me what you know.
Yo, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I know no secrets.
I don't believe you at all.
Man, I promise you, we just did some research on the game, found some things we probably shouldn't have seen. I'm sorry, okay?
Do you think I am a fool?
No, of course not. You're not. Please don't do that. Please don't. You're crazy!
There's things you should never know. Infinite warfare is mine. The secrets can never be told. Kill them. And leave no one behind.
If you have played Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, you probably know most of what the game has to offer. But every year, in every development cycle, there's always some content that never gets released or gets changed throughout the development. Content that we never see in the actual game. Either early concept art, or things that they initially thought they would add that they just scratched or eventually just cut completely. And in this video, we're gonna take a look at that. We're gonna see all the early concept art as well as content that was cut from the game. Everything from weapons, attachments, and even score streaks, and early character models showing what the game could have been, but that changed down the road. So you are watching the secrets of Infinite Warfare that you most likely did not know about. But before we start, I just want to give you a quick disclaimer that most of this video will focus on the multiplayer. So all of the content you'll now see was content that was initially changed or cut from that mode. So let's get started with weapons and attachments that we never got to see or got changed in the development. So let's take a look at some lethals first. And the first things we're going to look at are some throwable knives. And the first one I do believe is actually the biospike, which is currently in the game. But here in the early concept art picture, it is called the frag knife, as you can see on screen right now. But once again, this is really similar to the biospike, so I'm pretty sure this just changed the name down the road, and that is the knife we now see on the screen, and we are familiar with in the game. But the next throwable knife right here, we have never seen, called the Volt knife. And we can just imagine how this would work, but based on the name, it will be some kind of electric knife in my opinion. Either it works like the ballistic knife like we know from the Black Ops series where you just shoot out the blade and you electrocute your enemy, or you throw it just like a normal throwing knife and you just electrocute whoever you hit. Seems like an interesting knife, and it's sad to see that it never entered the game. The final knife that we see right here is the Chimney knife, which I honestly don't know what kind of plans they had for, because as you can see, kinda looks like the knife has a small little motor on it, so maybe you could shoot it out just like a ballistic knife, and maybe you could grapple with it or drag your enemies to you, or it literally just was a firing ballistic knife. We honestly don't know, but it's interesting to see. Next up here, we're going to take a look at some weapon variants, and if you see the picture on screen right now, you probably see some familiar variants that you've seen before. All the way on the top to the left here, we have the FHR. Underneath, we have two different variants of the DCMH shotgun, But we can see on the top right here a variant that we've never seen. And based on this picture, it seems like it's supposed to be some kind of variant of the FHR, or maybe even the Type 2. At least in my opinion, that's what it looks most familiar with. But this is a variant we never got to see, and it's interesting to see these early concept arts of content that never actually surfaced in the actual game. Next up here, we have another picture of 3 different LMGs, and on the top here, we obviously have the Raw, which we know from the game. But in the middle, I have no idea what we're seeing. Is this a variant of the Raw, or even the Titan, or even the Mauler, or is this just a weapon that we never got to see? In my opinion, I do believe this is some kind of variant based on the description underneath, but we've never seen this in the actual game. And all the way down here, I do believe we see an early version of the Liberty that we now have in Infinite Warfare. But the one in the middle, very interesting, and we never actually got to see this in the full game. Next here, we got a few variants. As you can see on screen right now, the weapon concept, light machine gun, loot variants 01. And none of these we have seen in the actual game. I don't know if these are supposed to be some variants for the existing guns, like the Titan, the Raw, the Mauler, but I highly doubt that. These guns look completely different to anything we've seen before, and I wonder if there's an LMG they actually decided to cut from the game completely. But now, let's not look at only variants, but actual weapons that never surfaced in the game. And the first one you see right here is actually a weapon that we saw in Zombies, the crossbow, or the Rising as it's called here in this picture. But it looks like it was initially planned to be in multiplayer as well, and I am actually really disappointed that we never got to see this, because this could be an interesting, fun gun to use, rewarding but also really risky. One shot and you had to reload your arrow. If you hit your target, you would have gotten the kill, but if you missed, you would stand there having to reload your next arrow. A very fun weapon that I wish we saw in multiplayer, but for some reason never entered. Next up here, we have another LMG that I've never seen before, but in the description, it actually tells you that this is supposed to be a sniper rifle, or a kind of variant. To me, it looks like an LMG, but based on the concept art, this was actually supposed to be some kind of sniper. What sniper could this be? Do you believe it's a variant from the game that we actually have now, or do you think it's for a sniper that actually was never released in the first place? The next one we have here, in my opinion, doesn't look like a brand new gun, but a really crazy variant of the Wreck. As you can see, it tells you that this is an AR variant 02, but this is a variant we definitely have never seen in the game. It also looks like it has a standard red dot on it, and I really wish this was brought into the actual release. But we never saw this throughout the lifespan of Infinite Warfare. I either think this is a weapon completely on its own, or a variant of the Wreck. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And now let's move over to some pistols we never got to see, and the first one here is the Arc Pistol. This seemed to be an electronic weapon that either stuns or kills your enemy with electricity. And as you can see, the magazine is actually a battery. I don't know how they planned this gun to work, but it's really sad to see it never getting into the actual release of the game. And finally here we have another pistol, which we unfortunately don't have the name of, and we just have to run our imagination of what this pistol actually was supposed to do. And now let's go over to the only attachment I was able to find, which is called the holosight, which are really known already in the Call of Duty franchise, and it was supposed to look like this. I don't know why they cut this out of the multiplayer. It looks like a really clean and nice sight, but it was never actually released. Next up here, we have some concept art for the characters early on in Infinite Warfare's development. And first here, we're going to take a look at a picture of the combat rig you're well known of and you probably don't really like, and that is Synaptic. The biggest problem with this character in multiplayer was because of the really skinny legs, which messed up the hitbox completely. But as you can see on this picture, we have a armored variant of Synaptic, and I really don't understand why they didn't use this one in the first place, because the hitbox would not have been a problem in multiplayer, which I find really weird. So they actually designed him like this, and they should have kept that in the multiplayer. Next up here, this is kind of a little funny picture, because as you can see, this is obviously supposed to be the Merc rig, but for some reason he has the Warfighter head. But that is one of the things about early concept art. They probably developed Warfighter first, and they just put his head on the other designs. So it's kind of funny to see Merc with a Warfighter head. Next up here, we have some really early concept art of some of the rigs we've seen in Infinite Warfare, and all the way to the left here, it's just called the MP Assault character, and to the right here we have the FDL character, a front view of him. Interesting of how they thought these characters out and how they eventually turned out. And now maybe even more interesting, you can once again see FDL all the way to the left here, but look at the right side. This is multiplayer synaptic character. Can you believe that in the beginning of the development, they actually wasn't even planning Synaptic to be a robot. He was actually a full-fleshed, manly character, as you can obviously see. And finally here for the cut content, we're gonna go over to score streaks. Or actually, I should probably say score streak, because there's only one of them that got cut from the game. And you can see it on screen right now. This is the guided missile system, and you can see the first-person view of this streak. I think that this is most likely something we've seen before, because the guided missile is not something brand new, and it's basically where you take up this rocket launcher, you shoot out a rocket, and you control the missile yourself, or basically guided missile. So this is not a brand new streak, but it was actually made for Infinite Warfare. We've seen it in previous Call of Duties, and it was also made for this game, but we never saw it in the full release, and they never added it down the road. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all the secrets or the cut content or early concept art that I found interesting to show you in this video. And I highly doubt that you've seen most of these before, unless you did some research yourself. And I must say, it's really interesting to look through all of these things that actually could have been in the game or eventually got changed. And let me know which one of these you would have liked to see in the full release of Infinite Warfare. Finally, I just want to talk about an aspect of the game that I really wish they did more of. And I've done a ton of research to find out if they actually had more plans for this, but I couldn't find anything, unfortunately. And that is the classic weapons. I feel like Infinite Warfare or Infinity Ward could have done way more with this aspect of the game, because they added some of the fan favorite weapons into Infinite Warfare, but they could have added way more, like the MP7, the ACR, but I wasn't able to find anything, any pictures, any concept art, or any information if they actually had more plans for this category in the weapons. But I really wish they did, and I feel like they missed out on a huge opportunity of bringing in more of the fan favorite weapons. Of course, they brought in some variants like the Ripper, the Honey Badger, but they could have brought in even more in the classic category of the weapons. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was the secrets of Infinite Warfare. Let me know if you knew about anything about this before or what you found most exciting to figure out about. And if you want to do more research, all you need to do is to just search up Call of Duty Infinite Warfare early concept art or cut content, and you'll be able to find everything I found in this video. And I can also confirm that all of these pictures has been officially released from Infinity Ward themselves, so none of these is fake. I've done my research, and I'm 100% sure of that. I thought it was really interesting to go through all of this, and I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of video as well. I know it's a little bit different from what I usually do on the channel, so I'm very excited to see what you guys think. So if you did enjoy this video, please drop a like, subscribe if you want more content like this, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. My name is Pajas, and I am out. Take care.